Welcome to the IT Collab, the podcast where the realms of community and collaboration intersect to revolutionize the delivery of IT managed services. I'm your host, Brandon Barnes. Whether you are an experienced IT professional seeking to expand your skill set or a visionary business leader in search of innovative solutions, we have you covered. Our experienced guests, comprising of industry veterans and thought leaders, will offer invaluable perspectives and insights to guide you through the dynamic landscape of IT. So, let us embark on this thrilling journey together. Let's go. Hi, welcome to the IT Collab. My name is Brandon Barnes, and today I am joined by Evan Chavez, Senior IT Engineer Extraordinaire. And today we are going to talk about the awesome art of password policies. Welcome, Evan.
Hi, thanks.
I feel like I should add some clapping or something like that.
Fair.
So this week was spontaneously brought up over what issue that you had?
It wasn't an issue that I had necessarily.
Oh, okay.
Because I am perfectly happy on the fence. No, the debate that came up at one of our clients, there's two IT guys in their IT department, and one of them is very much of the opinion that it's like a newer opinion, I guess industry standard for password policy, where essentially you don't expire passwords and instead you force longer and stronger passwords.
Do you ever expire them?
That's where it's a gray area. Right. Versus the traditional 30, 60, 90 day password policy that expirations that have been kind of the industry norm for the last 30 years.
So this is purely rumor, but recently I was talking to someone about Microsoft's most current password policy, recommended best practice policy, which is super. This could be a really boring thing, but quite frankly, I feel like companies don't even know where to go on this all the time. Mm-hmm. There's always like contention on this one. So this is why I thought it would be a really hilarious topic to talk about. So if we're really looking at password policies from Microsoft's stance, they do believe in the don't expire your password every 60 days. In fact, I think that I heard a rumor that the person who originally created the 60-day password actually said sorry. I was wrong. That could be wrong. I need to check my facts on that, so we probably want to check that. But I tend to agree. I think that, and the reason why that they're stating to change the password policy from the whole 60-day change your password all the time is that it actually becomes less secure over time and gets very people tend to use more guessable, easier passwords so that they can remember them every 60 days versus having a very complex password on top of other implied policies on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you agree with?
Like I said, I'm perfectly happy on the fence. I vote longer, stronger, and change them every 90 days, 180 days.
You serious?
Yeah.
Why?
Why not?
Time, remembering. I agree with a very complex password.
See, here's I get that. For a typical end user, yes, it's a pain. It's cumbersome.
Okay.
And I don't care. Do better.
Do better.
My last passwords have all been, like, for the last couple of years, have all been 30, 40 character.
Why?
Because
30, did you say 30 or 40?
Yeah, in between 30 and 40.
Oh my God.
Why?
Yeah.
Because I don't ever want to be the person whose password got hacked and is the reason for a breach.
Okay, so you... Oh.
Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so just so no one thinks that I'm just some schlemiel of a IT guy, mine are like 25.
No, and that's great.
and they're pretty complex. Like there's many uppercase, lowercase, special characters,
right.
You know, phrase that doesn't make sense, not my like family name, you know,
right.
Nothing like that. I like to have fun with them, and so I agree. But like the changing of every 90 days, coupled with MFA and some other things I don't know is necessary. So having a really long, secure one, and I know that now, granted, there are some administrator passwords where I only remembered by literally typing them, like the key, like the muscle memory.
Right.
I don't. I couldn't say it out loud, but if I was like, "Oh, my finger touched there," like I could remember that stuff. So I 100% agree, but I don't use my password to every single customer. Like my own customers have their own password that are like secured behind their own thing, and they're randomly generated, nothing.
Yeah. No, we.
That would be a whole nother topic.
Yeah, definitely don't want to have the same password across multiple clients. That's asking for trouble.
Okay, so you're on the fence. So you're saying as an IT professional, you really want some security around that.
Yeah.
Because that's
think about the last few environments that we've had to rebuild over Christmas or whatever, and it wasn't
due to us.
It wasn't due to us exactly, but it was due. Yeah, don't jinx it.
It was due to.
But it was due to password breach
by an IT guy.
It was one in particular. That definitely, it was an
administrator.
Admin. Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
So yes, maybe I can ease my stance a little bit and say just admins, but.
So let's say not admins. Let's talk about just mostly base users. What should their minimum requirements for complexity be?
I'd say I'd feel most comfortable with 16 character and uppercase, lowercase, special character, and a number.
Yeah, and if we Googled that, I wonder what it would say. It would probably like use 20, 30, 40, who knows? It always changes. There's no I almost want to know what NIST or like CCMC or CMMC would say.
CIS, the recommendation is 12 characters.
Really?
Yep.
That's it?
Yep.
Shocking. Okay, moving on. What would be a rational time frame for end users to change your password?
I think it is kind of a sliding scale. Like if
with or without MFA, and that.
Well, right, exactly. Yeah, there's variables. So like how many layers you have kind of dictates how long a password should be usable for.
Right.
So like if you just have 8 characters, but you don't have to have, or you don't know special characters or, anything like that. Yeah, change that regularly. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, if you have MFA, if you have EDR, if you have IDS, like all of these other layers, and you're forcing a longer password, like 16 characters.
This is like super bland topic, I guess, sometimes.
Am I boring you?
No, I'm just I'm trying
acronym.
If I was talking to someone, I guess it is. This is not like a sexy topic. It's a very like oh my god, get out of the way. Right? But the truth is, the factual piece of this is what like most of passwords are given out or hacked, probably more or less by phishing or some type of, it's not really a breach, but like a phishing thing.
Right.
So I think that there was the password like encryption tools that are trying to guess your password. So having a long password is very preventative, right?
Mm-hmm.
But having, more or less, we want to make sure that people aren't handing out their passwords.
Right.
And what is the purpose of MFA? MFA is like, if someone was to get your password, you still have to go on your app and approve that it's you doing the one logging in. So it's just, for people that are trying to log in, go, oh my god, what should my password policy be? Look, have MFA.
Hi, welcome.
Yeah.
I don't care how long your password is.
Definitely have MFA.
For whatever you say, like, please add MFA or two-factor.
And other layers of protection too, because MFA tokens can be
hacked.
and replay
one-time passwords.
Exactly.
One-time passwords are pretty.
And we've seen that a couple of times in the last year.
Really?
MFA replay, or
thanks.
MFA token replay attacks where they steal a token
Fanfare.
and they use that to set up their own MFA authenticator.
For the one-time
So then
password.
they sign in as the user, get the MFA prompt, goes to their phone,
Yeah.
boom.
What other measures can you
It wasn't
put in
an
place,
issue that I had
to
necessarily,
breach passwords?
because I am
Conditional
perfectly
access,
happy on the fence.
If you're forcing people to be
no,
enrolled
the
and compliant.
Yeah.
The debate that
that
came up at one of our clients, they
what do you mean
two
by
IT guys in
Well,
their
compliant, I
IT
mean,
department, and one
if
of
you have a
them is very much
compliance
of
policy
the
that says,
opinion that
role,
it's like a newer opinion,
password
newer
has to have
like a
defender,
standard
must be encrypted,
industry standard
those sorts of
for
things.
password policy, where essentially you
you
don't
have a
expire
compliance policy
passwords
that
and instead you force
evaluates
longer,
machine
stronger
learning.
passwords.
Conditional access looks at, is this compliant per your
That's
compliance
where it's
policy?
a gray area.
Yes. Okay, great. I'm gonna let you sign in.
You know,
So you're
versus the
basically saying
traditional
not just the
30,
password,
60,
but
90 day
Right.
uh,
So sticking to the
password policy
password,
that the expirations that have been
other
kind of
things
industry
that
norm
can,
for the last
obviously conditional
30
access,
years.
like, hey, you can't log in
this
from
is-
these other places, so preventing
purely
people in China from logging into America,
but
or preventing
recently,
people in Africa, like I was. and
That's
then,
right.
And I had to message you like, please unblock me so I could work.
recommended.
So yeah, that's the thing. I tested it. I went to Africa and I actually tested the password policy,
Just to test our
conditional,
password
yeah,
policy.
conditional access policy for passwords outside the country. 100% did work.
It worked.
Yay!
This is why I thought it would be a really
All right,
topic to talk about. So if we're really looking,
I think
at
another thing for conditional access was
password
the
policy
threshold.
from
So
Microsoft
one
stance,
saving grace. I think
they
the smart
believe in the don't expire your
lockouts.
password every
So,
60 days.
for instance,
In fact,
someone tries to log in
I
10
heard a rumor
times on an
that the
account
person who originally
within X
created
amount of
the
time, you have to
60-day
wait half an
password,
hour. Especially on those
actually
admin
said,
accounts because you really
I was wrong. Don't get me wrong. I need to check my facts.
you know,
on
someone
that.
breaching is really trying to hammer or do a brute force attack.
I don't.
Right.
Meaning they're just like password. If you don't have that in
The
place,
reason why that they're
that's kind of a
stating to
problematic
change the
thing,
password
right?
policy,
But if we're talking like a policy,
60-day, change your password all the
truthfully, I
time,
still
it
think
actually
like
becomes less secure over
MFAs
time.
or two-factor has gotten really more complicated, and it's not as easy to just prove or deny. So I mean, that's very helpful. I think one of the main things that I googled out there and just was trying to do my research for this one is just they talk about the complexity, the length, the requirements, right? Like make sure you have uppercase.
like I said, I'm perfectly
Special
happy
character.
on the
This,
fence.
that, and the other. And
I
those are
vote
super
longer,
common stuff,
stronger,
right?
and
The length
change them
is
every.
huge. The
90
length,
days,
like,
180
people
days.
complain. Your
Yeah.
employees will complain.
Why not?
It's really not that hard. It's really not.
I don't think so, but I know I'm not in the same
Right.
category
I agree
necessarily
with
as
a very
an end user.
Well, and you avoid common passwords.
Well, and
so
see,
1,
here's
2, 3, 4,
I
5,
get
6, like,
that,
that's pretty standard across the board.
for a typical end user, yes,
cloud realm.
it's a pain.
Like,
It's
you
cumbersome,
can't put your last name.
and I don't care.
Like,
Do better.
I remember, because I just went through.
My
60
last
people,
passwords
and
have all
resetting
been
their
like for the
password
last
as
couple
we're
years have all
like,
been 30, 40
Microsoft
character.
contract. And of course, it was always
Because
the same.
if so,
Like, over and over, they're like, I can't use
yeah,
my name.
in
Like,
between
and it was
30 and
like,
40.
They would say it right there.
Why?
Like, it
Because
says either
I
weak or
don't
strong.
ever want to be the person
Like, what is-
whose password got
What does weak
hacked
mean? I'm like, oh,
and is the
it
reason
says
for
right
a
here that
breach.
You can't use your name.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So they still like most of those, Microsoft will prevent those people from just putting in that kind of stuff right off the bat.
And you can also do like custom band passwords. So like
No, and that's
we
great.
Don't
And they're, like,
allow
they're
our
pretty
users
complex,
to
like,
use
Yeah.
the company name
Many uppercase,
in
lowercase,
their
Really?
passwords.
Special
Really?
characters, right.
You can't use our address. You can't use
Right.
Denver Broncos.
Really?
I like to have fun with them.
Are you gonna go change your password now?
No.
The changing of
Better make sure that's enforced on you.
Oh man, don't be used Canada.
So having a really long security.
Alligator.
Yeah, I know. No, granted.
Okay,
There's some
I mean
bullshit.
everything looks pretty good.
I don't
So
remember
we are on the fence
the
about password expiry.
Like the
Or
like
expiration.
muscle memory.
Right.
I couldn't
For a
say
common
on my
user,
phone. No, my
I
finger
would
touched there.
prefer to keep it longer. Like, hey, you have to have a 20 character password, but you don't have to change it for like
But
a year.
I don't use my password.
I would go for a year.
Yeah, and I see the merit in
Yeah.
like
Secured
I
behind
think
their
it
own
is-
thing, and they're
and hence the reason I'm on the fence. Like
Yeah.
I see that
yeah.
it's
No, we.
valuable and
That's
it's
that would
a
be a
good
whole nother
approach.
topic.
Like I don't
Yeah,
have any
definitely
issues
don't
with that
want
approach.
to have
the same password across multiple clients, that's asking for trouble.
Okay, so you're on the fence. So you're saying as an
What do
IT
you think?
professional,
You think the most secure is
really
actually
want some
changing it all the
security
time?
on that.
Yeah,
Well,
because that's
And how often
think
do you
about
remember
the
if you
last
cancel?
few environments that we've had to rebuild
when you
over
change your
Christmas
password every
or
90 days,
whatever, and it was
do you just change one character? Or do you change the
it
whole
wasn't
thing?
due to us exactly, but it was due.
yeah.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
It was due
No,
to
it's a
But it was
passphrase
due
that I
to
come up with.
password
Passphrase.
breach.
Yeah.
by an IT guy.
It was one in particular.
Okay, so
that definitely,
give me an
yeah, it
example.
was
I'm
an
not saying
admin.
Tell me your password.
Yes.
But do you? So I have seen some people where they'll use a whole.
So
city.
yes, maybe I can ease my
Without
stance a little bit and say just
Or with
admins,
spaces,
but
you can't really split.
Well, if you can't
Let's
do
say not
spaces,
admins, let's talk about
I
just
don't think you can.
mostly
But if you do the phrase,
what should
I've seen that too, where you can use a movie quote or something like that, and that's.
I'd say
But if you use a special character or two in there,
I'd feel most
Right.
comfortable with
lowercase,
16
and then
character
It's actually harder to
and
crack with
uppercase,
some type of
lowercase,
key
special
well,
character,
it takes longer.
password,
I mean,
password
and a
cracker.
number.
yeah, the more layers you throw into it, or the more, I guess, steps,
20, 30,
the longer it's going to take a password
It always
cracking
changes.
tool to
There's no
figure it out.
Right.
no
Because password cracking is going to take a person a lot longer time. So it's preventative. Like the longer you have, it's kind of like putting a
CIS,
lock on a PC,
the
right?
recommendation
Like,
is
I had
12
to do this
characters.
Really?
What
Yep.
would happen?
Yep.
It's just preventative. Can someone kick it
Okay.
off? Yeah,
Moving on.
it can rip the thing. But if it's just preventing someone like
a rational time frame for
the easiest way for them to get it is
I
to
think
send you a
it
stupid email
is kind of a sliding
saying,
scale.
Hey,
Like
put your password
if,
in.
We've handed over.
And what do they do? Like,
well, right, exactly. Yeah, there's variables. So
Here's my
like
40-character
how
password.
many layers
Yeah,
you have
that's
kind of
right. It's right
dictates
there.
how long
Guess
the
what? And
password should
that
be
leads me to.
Or do you
usable
want
for.
the QR for my
So like you
Training.
can just have
Yeah.
8 characters, but you don't have to have.
Please enter your QR, your
special
authenticator, and
characters
your
or-
password right here.
Take a picture and email it
Oh my
to
god, can you do that? Can you
Yeah,
please send
change
out
that
official email
regularly.
that says please
Um,
put your Q.
place your Star Wars screenshot of your QR
Yeah,
code.
if you have MFA, if
Oh
you
my-
have
please do that.
Absolutely,
I
will.
want to see just if someone
EDR,
actually does
if
it.
you have
Absolutely, I will.
Then I'll
I'll have Ray do it,
IDS,
but
you
Then
know,
we'll put their name as an act.
all
like
of
an
these other
acronym.
layers,
You know,
and
we'll do some kind of word mix on
you're
their name.
forcing
yeah,
a longer password, like
yes,
16 characters.
100%.
Just kidding. We'll never do
Um,
that. But
Absolutely, we will.
we will make fun of them, and we won't tell you their name.
Am I boring you?
So other than
Acronym,
I
acronym,
think I was
acronym.
talking to someone with passwords
I guess
because the easiest way, like I said,
it's
is just for you to
not
put
like
it
a
in
topic.
some kind of PDF file, put it in somewhere that goes back to the whole training.
But the truth is,
So,
the
I don't know.
factual piece of this is
Have you ever ran across
what like
a place where there's people that just puts passwords all over the place, where they put them
On stickies?
Yeah. underneath the computer, taped to the underneath the keyboard?
Yeah, I haven't seen it as much lately, but
Right.
So I think that
Used to.
there was the password like
I
encryption
do
tools
it
that are trying to guess your password. So having
I
a
went to
long
a place
password
recently
is very
and they had it
preventative,
everywhere,
right?
and I'm
Mm-hmm.
But having
Oh, I cringed.
you
Just a
know,
little bit.
more or less, we want to make
Right.
sure that people aren't
Not
handling
only
their
that,
passwords.
This
Right.
place, and this
And
is
what
what's
is the
going to be
purpose
sad.
of MFA?
We're going to have to
MFA
report
is like,
these
if
people
someone
this
was to
year
get your
because this
password,
company
you still have to go in your
actually
app and
worked
approve
for, like they
that
did
it's
contracting
you.
for NASA.
doing the one logging in. So
And
it's
I'm
just
like, this is
for people that are trying to
horrible.
log in,
For the love of God, please.
have it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't
Okay,
care what
okay.
your
So,
password is.
so tell
Definitely
me
have
this. If
MFA.
we're going to say this
Whatever
too,
you
we're
say,
trying to tell
please
recommend. Like,
add
if we were to say
MFA.
pure on recommendation,
And other
I would go
layers of
with
protection
please at
too,
least
because I mean
have
MFA
20
tokens can
characters,
be
22, 25, something like that.
and
Go
replayed, yeah.
One-time passwords.
Two-factor authentication.
Exactly.
Have
And we've
complexity
seen
to it,
that
and
a
just
couple
like
of times in the
we're
last
saying,
year.
like, don't use common stuff.
Yeah, MFA replay or MFA
Um,
token
make sure you
replay
have uppercase,
attacks where
lowercase,
they
special character number.
they steal the token
That
and
would
they
be my
use that to set up their own MFA
Not to expire for at
authenticator.
least a-
So
I
then
would
they
say a year.
sign in
Like,
as the
not
user, get the
forever.
MFA prompt, goes
right,
to their
that,
phone.
That password policy you just
Boom.
laid out,
Yeah.
I have no problem with.
Okay, for a standard user.
Yeah.
For an admin, I could totally see like, hey, like you maybe need to go to 50
Conditional
characters.
access.
I
I
still
mean,
think- I
if
still
you're
believe in the same
forcing
As
people
long
to be enrolled
as
and
long as
compliant,
it's cognizant. So
you know,
if you're
that's-
on prem,
Well, right, yeah, I
if
was
you're on
gonna say,
prem, that's a completely different thing. Because if
There's another
someone
layer,
hacks your on prem, there's no way to track
well, compliant-
who did
I mean,
what, where, and the repercussions.
if you have a
are massive.
compliance
Well, that's
policy
the other
that
thing is, like,
says
Into the server, I mean,
device
like
has to
we're talking
enroll, has to have
firewalls. I'm just
no,
trying to explain
absolutely,
this.
yes, no, I know.
have
so
Defender, has to be
that one
encrypted,
breach that
those sorts of
happened,
things.
5 years ago, maybe.
So you have
6
your
years ago or
compliance
so,
policy that
With,
looks and evaluates a machine for all those things, and
where
then
the
conditional access looks at, is this
basically
compliant
someone was hammering
per
on
your
that
compliance
admin's
policy?
password, and the admin
Yes.
hadn't changed
Okay,
their
great. I'm
password
gonna
in
let you sign
3
in.
years.
No.
Yeah.
So you're
Sorry.
basically
I mean,
not
I
just the
spent the
password,
night
but
there.
everything.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So sticking to the password.
right.
and they
Other
breached.
things I think obviously
That was like because it was also like it was tied to their firewall to their admin password or to an admin's
To
password.
an admin, it was a specific admin's account,
Right.
and because he didn't change his password,
That's right.
Then I had to
We-
force it to
Exactly.
speak
got
online
forced,
so it could work.
and then they got crypto.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I tested it. I went to Africa and I actually
hard.
tested the password policy.
Yeah,
They're in the mi-
Just
they're in
to
the
test
middle
our
of a
password
video.
policy.
Yeah, no access policy for password.
And they-
outside the country.
I know, I was the
Yeah.
first responder on that.
It worked.
Yay.
Yay.
Oh, well, let's not, okay, so
All right.
with that though, what we're trying to say is when it's the password policies, especially internally for admin, are huge. Do you believe in having separate admin logins versus the regular login?
Mm-hmm.
For instance, someone tries to log in 10 times on an account.
Because now to prevent what just happened, to prevent that thing. Number one, they did not change their password for a long time, for like 3 years or something like that. And
Right.
it was, I mean, they brute forced it, got in the door with that admin's password, and it wasn't just the administrator password, it was that
user's
specific
admin.
admin.
Yeah.
But that's why I really truly believe in having some type of like a smart process. That's what's hard about Prem. It's hard to have a smart process on Prem. If that was to happen in Azure, it would be like, this is really weird. Someone's hammering the door. I'm gonna lock this person out.
Well, I mean, there are
Yeah.
audit tools.
Okay.
I mean, you know, we have one client that uses SolarWinds
Okay.
that is it's literally ingesting all of their server
Mhm.
logs and
The length is
analyzing
huge.
if there's repeated
Like,
failures on
people complain.
login,
Your employees will
login attempt.
complain.
We can
Yeah.
to
try
the notify.
You can do that with Azure too. Can you, Diane? Like identity
Again,
protection?
I don't think so,
Just to
but I,
see-
Yeah.
But not the
I know
firewall.
I'm not in the
Well,
same
depends. It really depends. There's
category
tools out there.
necessarily
I
as
mean,
as an end user.
That's
When you
the,
avoid
I guess
code
that's the moral of my story is that there are tools for Prem, but
No,
right, cloud is just like baked in.
Yeah, like they built it in.
Mhm.
I think the number one thing I think was interesting is
Right.
most
I've never-
companies, and this is going to get on the nerdy side of this, but most companies don't have enough space or time or whatever the excuse is to actually enable logging on your
I
back
can't
end
use my
directory.
name. Like it was like,
Oh yeah, no,
it would
They're
say
domain
right
controllers.
there.
that's
And
It's
therefore,
like a week
and
or
especially
so.
if they do have logs, which we do have customers that
Like,
have logs, but they only have so
What
much
does week mean?
space
I'm like,
because
well,
those
that's
logs,
so much
You
time
can't
to-
use your name.
especially larger companies,
yeah.
the logs are like
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
transaction, every single login to every single thing happens. Therefore, all of a sudden the logs are massive, and then they have to delete
Right.
every.
And you can also do
30
like
days, so they
custom
only have 30
ban
days, and then we have to go,
passwords.
oh, this is
So
getting
like
bigger, so it's gonna go to like 10
we
days. So
don't allow our
versus
users to use
Microsoft,
our company
it's
name
30 days no matter what.
in their password, so you can't use uncommon.
In Azure.
You can't
Yeah,
use our address.
Land. So
You can't use Denver.
That's what's
or
interesting is I think
Broncos.
that
Really?
just knowing those smart.
You gonna go change your password now?
Because if it was on-prem, that my
Better make sure that's enforced on you.
Oh man.
I'd probably be like, okay, I change this maybe every
It's
like
Canada.
3 months. But you can't. And the MFA doesn't work the same on-prem thing though.
Okay.
I know
Everything's
that.
pretty good.
That's-
So
that
we are
is
on the fence
one of
about
my
password
biggest complaints about Azure MFA,
Yeah.
and where honestly I think like Duo
for common
has
user,
The upper hand.
the upper hand.
Duo is Duo.
you have to have a total
See,
character.
I would recommend Duo if you're gonna try and do. If you're on-prem
Yeah.
domain, use
I would
Duo.
go for it.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Especially
you
doing
know,
like
I see the merit in it.
even
Like,
on your login
I think
into
it
your
is.
Windows machine.
Hence the reason I'm on the
Right there.
fence. Like,
That's awesome.
I
Like, if you're
see
really
that
trying to
it's
get deep on it,
valuable and it's a good
That's where Microsoft
approach.
is
Like, I
not.
don't
That's where you
have
start
any
using those
issues with that
third-party tools.
approach,
Right.
I agree with that one, 100%.
but I think
that's
it's
a
not
great point.
the most secure
Alright,
approach.
Other than that, I mean, having
You're probably.
password policy, I
You
mean,
think the most
it
secure
kind of beat that one down.
Well,
Have a password policy.
Yeah.
And
So you
how
agree with
often
my
do you remember
my
that?
password policy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. In the cloud, would it be different
When
on
you
prem?
change your password every
And when I say a prem, I'm saying
Yeah.
like you do not have
So-
anything in the cloud. Your machines are here.
Oh,
I'm
no,
trying
I
to
change
just
the whole
explain to
thing.
people
randomly
that
generated?
this is
No.
if you're not Azure
No, it's a
domain joined or
passphrase
Azure
that I
domain
come up
joined.
with.
You're not
Passphrase.
in the
Yeah.
cloud. You're not all there with all the cool
Like a-
tools,
Okay. So
right?
give me an
And you're
example,
just
like, I'm not
logged
saying
into a local
control
domain.
password,
What
but
would you? What
so
password
I have
policy
seen
would
some
you
people where they'll use a whole sentence that's like 30 characters.
90
Yeah.
day,
Right.
probably.
Really, you would go back?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it was created back in the day.
I don't know if you can use spaces.
How long? Same thing.
Yeah.
You do 30 characters.
never-
If you do the
Well,
phrase,
I mean,
20.
I'd say 16.
I
16?
did that too.
Yeah.
You can use
Complexity.
a
Yeah,
or something like that,
complexity.
and that's.
Strong
But if
complexity.
you use a special
How long would you
character
remember the
for
password? How many of the
Right.
passwords?
lowercase,
Right.
and then it's
Remember
actually
10 in the
hard to
past, so you can't
crack
like
with
it wouldn't
some type
say
of-
I remember
think
the last.
Well, it takes longer. I mean,
password cracker.
yeah, the more the more layers
I don't
you
really
throw
have an
into
opinion
it, or
on
the
that, so
more
I just
I guess
defer to
steps
what
the
CIS
longer it's
default.
going to take
CIS
a
says 24.
password cracking tool
24,
to
really?
figure it out.
That's awesome.
It's-
Well, because you're going 20, that's to be like 2 years.
Yeah, yeah,
A couple
exactly.
years of passwords.
Exactly.
The longer
That
you
makes
have,
sense. All right.
it's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be 24
24.
on a PC.
You know, what's funny is when you go by, like, because just when you're helping people and they, like, hand you their password.
Can someone kick it
Hate
off?
that.
Yeah.
I know.
It can
It's like,
but
oh
if
my
it's
God. You know, but at the same time, like, I understand. Like, I don't, if they're busy and I'm like, here, just take my password, I have a
the
meeting. I'm like,
easiest way for them to get it is to
I-
say,
Is to
that's-
just get it, yeah. Have,
saying, hey, put your
Another
password
topic.
in.
have you hand it over?
That's
And
one
what do they
of
do?
the things I appreciate that Microsoft has done is
Here's my 40 character password.
recently
Here's my password. There you go, right there.
so that you
Guess what? And
get
that
a-
leads me to
Here, do you want the QR for my authenticator?
Yeah.
You'll get a temporary passcode for
Please enter your QR for your authenticator and your password right here.
Take a picture and
Thank you.
email it
Like
to.
setting up their MFA.
Right.
So like if you need
It
to
says,
go in
"Please
and
put
register
your
something
QR."
for them.
Please respond with a screenshot of your QR code to your authenticator app.
Oh, but
Absolutely, I will.
wanna see
The code
just
you get
if someone
text you.
actually does
yeah.
that.
You just go
Absolutely,
there.
I will.
Yeah,
Well, I'll have
set it
Ray
up
do
for
it,
them.
but
That's pretty nifty. I didn't know that. That's really helpful.
In intra.
So,
yeah.
I'm going to give you another one.
Yes, 100%.
I had a customer.
But
Absolutely, we will.
managed
we will
service
make fun of
provider that
them,
we switched to us.
and we won't tell you their name.
And they handed me a spreadsheet.
So,
of 70
other than
users
the stories
and
like that, I
every
mean,
single one of
obviously
their
we need to
passwords.
educate people with passwords. Because the
So tell me,
like I said,
riddle me this,
you
Batman.
Put it in some kind of PDF
How does
file,
that make you feel?
put it in
If I
someone
was
else's
to
website,
tell you
full
that.
training.
And it's
Well,
100% true.
So,
I'm not going to say where I was or who I was, who it was.
have you ever
The MSP, I'm not going to say
run
that.
across
But I,
sites where
my
there's
jaw dropped and I said,
all over the place?
How do you, is
Unstick
there
it.
an
Oh my
emotion
God.
for anger and
Tapes underneath
sadness
the keyboard?
and
Yeah.
here's what
I
I'll tell you.
haven't seen it
Yeah,
as much
it's
lately,
absolutely
but
like,
'cause
number one, if
that's
you're,
what I feel
who's
when I hear
responsible?
that.
Who's responsible for this password? Am I responsible? Like, you could blame so many people for this. And at the same time, like, I never want to be blamed for having your password.
Exactly.
That's a horrible idea. I don't want that.
This place.
Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. So the good news is we Azure domain joined them at the time because Entra wasn't out yet, and
This is horrible.
we changed our password as we went.
Oh, God,
So they all
please.
had to, since we registered, they're on Microsoft.
But
One.
then, yeah.
So therefore,
Okay,
we all
okay.
had to
Interesting.
change
Tell
the
me
passwords.
this. If we're gonna say
So,
this to you, and we're
problem
trying to
solved.
tell recommend like if we're
But,
if you're on a
Sure.
recommendation,
Nonetheless,
But yeah,
I would
that
go with,
is
please
rip
don't
up
have
the spreadsheet,
20 characters, 20,
burn it,
24,
burn it,
something like that.
delete,
The
delete,
ashes.
delete, delete, delete.
Back your application.
So don't do that.
We're saying,
Please,
don't
if
use
someone's
it.
logging in your machine, like, oh, I got this, I have your password. No, bad idea.
there's a meme.
Here's what I
And,
would say.
and
the
not
biggest
expire.
case. If
Not
someone,
expire for-
just someone
I would
got their
say-
hands
Yeah.
on that
Not
document,
forever.
Yeah.
So right, that
Take
that
game
password
over.
policy you just laid out, I have no
take
problem
it
with.
down.
For a standard
Game
game.
over.
Yeah.
big
For an
time.
admin, I guess
Doesn't
like,
matter.
Like, hey,
Like,
you maybe need
They
to
could
go
sit
to
there
the-
one night and be like, oh, I'm gonna do this, change.
Mhm.
Like, no.
Yeah, as long as it's
Yeah,
cloud
there's-
based. So
there's
if you're on
a-
Well, right, yeah, I was
if you're
gonna
on
say.
prem, that's completely
if
different.
they,
If someone hacks
print it
your
out,
on-prem,
just like a
there's no
blank-
way
a
to
blank
track who's
spreadsheet.
what, where, and
It
the
says
repercussions are.
password.
Well, that's the
change,
other
sign
thing
up
is like,
for
On the
form.
server, I mean,
Enter your
firewalls,
user.
No,
just, like,
yeah,
fill in
no,
your
I know.
username, what
So
your current password
that
is, and what you
one
want your new
breach
password
that
to be.
happened
There's people that like fill it
5
in.
years ago,
And they'll
maybe
post a
6
note.
years ago or
Please
so,
come see the IT department. Please come talk
where
to me.
Yeah, no problem.
We have words.
basically someone
We
was
have words
hammering
for
on
you.
that admin's password, and the admin
Somebody's
hadn't
gonna have a
changed their
question.
password in like 3 years.
Obviously, we talked about training and doing
I
extensions
mean,
and things like that, but
Spent the night there.
maybe even
Yeah.
training on why we require length
Right.
and all those things.
They
We
breached.
It's required for length because
Like,
it's
it was
easy
also,
to
like,
run a tool
it was,
against it.
tied to their firewall.
Especially it puts
Or
Mhm.
the
To an admin,
algorithm,
it was a
quote,
specific
unquote, right,
admin's account,
and plays it against your
and
name. And all these
because he
things
didn't
and-
change his password for
He got brute
3
force.
What
years,
kind
he got
of
brute forced,
password
and then they
tool
got cryptoed.
would you
Um,
recommend
Ransomware.
to store passwords?
Like hard.
Mm-hmm.
Boo.
Yeah, their
They were
whole
in the
their.
they were in the middle of a
Yeah.
meeting.
Your brain.
I know.
Your brain?
And they,
Memory?
But
I know. I was the first
Memory?
responder on that.
That is not.
Please
Um,
don't do a
okay, so-
spreadsheet.
No,
Like that,
don't,
though.
so
We're
yes,
trying to
don't
say
do a
that
spreadsheet.
the
And
password
if
Uh,
you do, at least password protect.
especially in
It's a good password.
Do you believe in having
Right.
separate
I
admin
mean-
logins versus a regular login?
I use LastPass. I use OnePass.
Because not to
And
say to
they've
prevent
both
what just
been-
happened, to prevent that.
They've both been breached in the last
Did not change
year
their
or
password
two, or whatever.
Seriously?
Yeah.
In a long time.
So I.
LastPass was?
Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
dude, LastPass was
And
huge. That was a
It wasn't when they
huge.
brute forced it.
You didn't hear about
Got
that?
in the door
Oh.
with that admin's password,
Yeesh.
and it wasn't
Uh-huh.
just the administrator, it was that
Yeah.
That
they,
user's
um,
admin.
Aren't they
Yeah.
supposed to be known
That's
for
right.
keeping
We do
passwords?
believe in having having some type of
Yeah.
like
You know what though? They would be a target. They
smart
would be
process.
Oh, yeah, of
It's
course.
hard off-prem, it's hard to
Of
have a
course.
smart
That's-
process.
Like you have to have a whole
Super
team.
high
If that was
value.
happening
I think when
Azure,
people
you'd be
think
like,
that they
this
have it
is
all
weird, someone's
figured
gonna
out,
ring the
but
door.
they really don't know how
Unlock
to stick
this
it into.
person out.
Well, I mean, there
Well,
there
and
are
I
other
use-
tools.
that's the thing is, like,
I mean,
you know, I mean,
we have one client that uses
like
SolarWinds
the
that
best
is literally
protections, the best
ingesting
intentions is still
all of
being
their
blind to
server
something like,
logs and
you know,
analyzing
those might think that
if
you're
there's
one
repeated
pass
failures
was,
on a
you know, like
login
their
login attempt.
combination
It's
of
gonna
salting
notify.
and hashing
Can you do that with
and
Azure too? Can you dial in identity
not
protection
like
with that?
their system
Yeah.
never
But not
knows
the
your
firewall.
password, but
Well,
they
depends.
still
It really
got
depends. There's tools out
breached.
I mean, yeah,
And-
that's the I guess that's the moral of my story is that there are tools for prem,
passwords are still
but
stolen.
right, cloud is just like
I
baked
didn't
in.
read in too much into the details on that one, but
I think the number one thing I think was interesting is
it basically now I'm just like kind of jaded. Like, all right, it doesn't matter. I'll just
Which one's gonna be?
but most
Well, if they're all gonna be.
they're all gonna be hit.
They're
don't
gonna be hit.
have enough space
It's
or
fine, by the
time
way, but
or whatever. that
That's
you
just
use
it's
to
hard because you
Keep
want
it in your brain.
That's the
But
almond
then-
brain.
But
But
then,
then
Oh, yeah,
when you're
no,
trying to change
no.
all your passwords, like you
I
have so many
know,
logins,
I
it's
know,
like
and
how.
that's why I'd say it's impossible.
Especially
You
if you have
have to have either you're using the same password everywhere,
Or they only have
you're
so
using
much
a
time
password
to-
manager.
Especially
I
larger
worry, just
companies.
tell
Oh,
someone
yeah.
password and hire
Logs
them
are
to
like
change them.
every transaction, every single
will take
login.
that
Therefore,
I will be the
Just
arbiter of
every-
information.
You know what though? I separate them out. Like I use different passwords for like if I have like banking and stuff. Like that's a whole separate
Oh, yeah.
slew of passwords.
You
versus
should.
like my personal and
versus
yeah,
Microsoft.
I'm even getting to the point where
Right.
like this
I'm
is my
creating
super
my-
secret
Yeah.
password, and this is my
So
super duper secret
that's
password.
what's interesting.
well, and I'm at the point now where I'm actually creating an alias
Automated
for
processes
every
really help.
login that
If
I
it was
do.
on-prem, that my password
So
was
like,
private.
what did I sign up for recently?
You're changing this baby every like 3 months, but you can't
I wanna say it was like Quicken
No,
or something like that.
I know that.
Um,
That is one of my
and I
biggest
actually,
complaints
went in
about
and created
Azure
an
MFA,
alias that was
and where
you know,
honestly I
something
think like Duo has the
Quicken at my
has the upper hand.
Duo is Duo.
Just like so I know
I
Yeah.
recommend
that
Duo if you're
If that's your account that you're trying
that's
to
my
use.
account that I'm trying to use.
So you know which one's trying to prompt
And
you.
well, and if that's ever stolen, that's only that account,
That's awesome. Like,
that
Yeah.
password,
you want
that's
it.
only ever going to
That's
be
what Microsoft
at
is not. That's where you
you know,
start using
associated in my Quicken account.
That sounds like
Right.
a techie thing to do.
100%.
It's
That's a great.
it's cumbersome. It's
Yeah,
annoying.
I know.
But
I know.
it's
And also you do have to address. What do you think about all these people that put their passwords in their browsers,
no.
Chrome or
I hate it.
Have a password
Yeah.
I
policy.
do.
Yeah.
So you agree with my
Yeah.
password policy?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well,
Mhm.
In the cloud.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
different on-prem?
It depends on the account. Like,
And
like
when I
there's
say
some
account,
accounts
I'm
that
saying
got
you
hacked.
have
and
So-
they're
the cloud.
like, good
Your
job,
machines are
well
here.
done.
I'm trying to
Right.
just
You
explain
got
to
my
people
Paramount
that
Plus account.
This is if
You know,
go enjoy. Go watch South Park. Have fun.
Yeah. Bye bye. Like, and like there's things like that. Like you're gonna get my iRobot account. You're gonna vacuum my house. Like I changed your route, sucker. Like,
I
yeah,
get
so
it,
it's
probably.
just the
Really,
amount of
really,
effort I
I
have
mean,
to
that's where-
think
that's
about.
where
Like,
it's great.
okay, if it's
Mhm.
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you be super secure.
Well,
and you're
I
like,
mean, I'd say
it's-
16
I'm just trying to
minimum.
put it in
Yeah.
my bucket.
I know, and
Yeah, and
I
complexity.
don't really have a reason
strong
All of a
complexity.
sudden, my
to dislike it, but I do dislike it. I dislike browser password storage.
I think
Why?
I'll be honest, it's gotten more secure. So like,
I'm sure it has.
recently it's like prompt.
I don't really have an opinion on that, so I just defer to what CIS.
So it's
CIS
decent.
says
Okay.
24. So
They have a bigger
Yeah.
team of professionals.
Well, because you're going 20, that'd be like 2 years.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
passwords are
exactly.
fine.
exactly.
That makes sense.
I think we went deep
I think
enough.
it's
And I'm
24.
pretty
Am I making
sure
that up?
in the future we'll
You know, it's
find
funny
out.
when you go by it, like, because just with
Deal.
your
I appreciate you coming on today.
Like, can't do
Thank you for having me.
Let's go have
Hate
some
that.
coffee.
You know.
Thanks everyone for joining us.
Same time, like,
Really
if
appreciate your
they're
time.
busy,
Hope
like,
you
here's
had
the secret
a
password, I'm
good
gonna be like,
laugh and
Yeah.
maybe some knowledge.
No, and
sharing
that's
part of it, so
that's
if you
another
can,
topic
please do
probably,
all the
but,
things.
that's one of
Click
the
like,
things I appreciate that
subscribe, and all
Microsoft has
beautiful
done
thing.
is
Appreciate you. Have a
they
good time. Have a good
recently
day. Talk to you
have
soon.
made it so that
Or
you
talk
can
at you.
get a